What's going on, my North County fam? I'm your girl Kelly, here to give you the rundown on what happened in St. Louis County government this week, and I'm going to get right into it with some of these highlights. So the first highlight, yes, the mask mandate saga, it continues. Councilwoman Clancy, during Tuesday night's council meeting, she called for a vote on issuing a countywide mask mandate, and this was prompted by there was a report released by Missouri's Department of Health and Human Services that shows mask mandates slowed the spread of the Rona in St. Louis County this year. So Councilwoman Clancy, she requested to have her fellow colleagues on the council approve a countywide mask mandate, which has also been recommended by the health department. And she felt the need, saying that the council members, quote, must uphold its commitment to serve the residents of our region by doing what we know will slow the spread of COVID-19. Her words. So Councilman Fitch, he said, point of order, chairwoman, this ain't right. He was just like, point blank, period. This is illegal, what she doing. Councilwoman Clancy, she know what it is. She know the process. We're not just going to have something thrown at us in the communications to say, hey, let's vote to pass this by the council. He's like, she ain't new to this. She know about the process. Through the charter, right? The council charter, there is, you introduce the legislation, then it's perfected, then it's finally passed. So he's just like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. He also expressed beef that he's been reaching out to the county counselor's office to get their take on their legal analysis regarding the ruling that came down in Cole County a week or 2 weeks ago, what have you, saying that mask mandates are unconstitutional. And so he said he wanted to get, again, a legal opinion on this ruling and how it impacts St. Louis County. And he's like, yo, I've been reaching out. It's been crickets. And he also said, I've also asked for a meeting to discuss this matter, in greater detail. That hasn't happened. So, no, we not finna do this today. And there was quite a bit of back and forth. And Chairwoman Day, she deaded the vote to even take place with, again, in consideration of passing this mask mandate in St. Louis County. But I'm going to tell y'all, deep in my heart, I feel it. This ain't over. So we'll see what happens. The second highlight I wanted to mention is regarding to the coins that St. Louis County Council members make serving in this role. So apparently the county council members, they make $20,000 a year serving in this capacity. And there have been not one but two proposals presented, I think by Fitch and by, I can't remember which council members, my bad, but it's been two of them that have come forward with proposals that would increase how much council members are paid. I know one proposal wants the increase to be them making $30K, another one $60K. And, the reasoning behind this is that their pay hasn't been adjusted since 2005. So there will be a meeting scheduled for the council to discuss both of these proposals and kind of see what happens and where it lands. So I'll be sure to keep y'all posted on that. And then the final highlight I wanted to mention and bring to y'all on this glorious day. So there have been not one but two proposed bills. They were up for final passage Tuesday evening that could result in a change in the St. Louis County Charter if the voters approve them. So again, when we're talking about changes made to the charter, it has to appear on a ballot, and the voters of St. Louis County, they have to approve of whatever is being proposed in order for it to in order for that change in the charter to happen. Yes. So So I mentioned there are two bills, right? So the first bill, bill number 292, introduced by Councilman Harder. This bill, if passed, it will place on the ballot asking voters if the charter should be changed to, quote, require that all costs associated with employees appointed by the county executive be covered under the county executive's budget, and eliminate the authority of department heads to employ one executive assistant and one secretary for each of them. So Councilman Harder explained that, this bill, it increases the transparency of the county executive's budget, since he mentioned maybe 8 to 10 staff. They get paid through different departments. So he's like, so this bill will dead all that so everybody knows exactly what the county executive's budget is given. Councilman Tracus, he's not checking for it. He said, look, I'm not checking for any proposed legislation that would change the charter. He feels like these proposed changes should be made, quote, comprehensively and discussed in a committee of the whole meeting, so you don't have all these proposals coming out piecemeal when we're talking about looking at making changes to the charter. He's like, we all should sit down, kiki about it as a whole, and do it comprehensively instead of here and there. He also mentioned wanting to get some community input, gasp, on potential changes to the St. Louis County Charter as well. And then lastly, he also said, look, y'all, it really doesn't take rocket science to add up the numbers to really determine what the county executive's budget is given. So he's just like, I'm not feeling this. Councilman Fitch was just like, look, this gives the opportunity for the voters to decide. That's it. Like, point blank, period. Let the people decide. What's wrong with that? So the final verdict, this bill, it passed. So this will be on the ballot. The second proposed bill that could result in a change in the St. Louis County Charter, if the voters approve them, is bill number 343. This was introduced and sponsored, I guess, essentially by Councilman Fitch. And this bill, if passed, it would ask voters on the ballot if the charter should, quote, change the requirements for the position of county executive so that the county executive holds no other employment during their term of office, and that a violation of this restriction will result in the county executive having to forfeit their office. Yes, y'all. Y'all already know what this is about. I done reported on this I don't know how many times with regards to their issue with Sam Page, in their eyes having a side job. So, a side hustle. So, what was the final verdict? So, ultimately, yes, the bill, it did pass. In favor, you had Days, Webb, Fitch, and Harder. And against, you had Clancy, Dunaway, and, of course, Tracus, because he said he ain't checking for none of these pieces of legislation that could potentially change the charter, St. Louis County Charter. Rounding it out, y'all, with the legislative corner. So there were a number of bills passed, including one resolution that I am going to lift up just so folks are aware. So there were a number of bills passed regarding the 2022 budget, including with regards to the Solid Waste Management Fund, Public Mass Transit Fund, and the Highway Capital Construction Program, because this is budget season, y'all. Also, there was a bill passed accepting and appropriating an additional $321,000 in ending the HIV epidemic and STD clinics grant funds, totaling $771,000 for the grant period through July 31st, 2023. The funding will be used to support and further the health department's sexually transmitted infections clinics efforts to treat and reduce the prevalence of HIV and other sexually transmitted infections in St. Louis County. Because, y'all, the prevalence rate when we're talking about sexually transmitted infections in this region, especially in St. Louis County, is very high. So that's needed. And then lastly, but certainly not least, I wanted to mention there was a resolution passed Tuesday night supporting reproductive freedom. I really thought this was quite interesting because y'all know I attend these meetings in person. They're very interesting, to put it lightly. And to sit in here 1 or 2 hours of public comments with people expressing, the freedoms that we have as Americans, and how they shouldn't be taken away from them with regards to the mask and the vaccines. And then again, we're talking about, what is this? Reproductive freedom. And those same council members that are, talking about freedoms and liberties and justice and all this other stuff, they voted against this resolution. So I just find it very interesting how folks can pick and choose what they want to advocate for when we're talking about freedoms. It just would have been a little bit more consistent to see that same energy applied when we're talking about reproductive freedoms. So that's all I have for y'all this week. Please stay well out there, be safe, and you will see me soon. Peace.